Pike's pushed more and far enough ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, and
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Coming down, does he have it? Is going to get it. Look at the toss. Haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Hello everybody and welcome to the Radical Race Series as we return for round 4 of season 4 in 2023. It's our first trip to the United States out of 3 in the next 5 races, and we're here at Road America for the latest round of our championship. It's a circuit that of course has hosted our season opener in seasons gone past. Not this time around. We're getting towards the mid part, already getting towards 1/3 distance in this championship in the Radical Race Series this season. And what an opening to the season it has been. My name is Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside James Parfitt once again here for this latest round of the championship. We're very glad to be back, James. Not for the season opener at Road America quite this time, but instead for a mid-season round. But it is back on the calendar again, as it has been for a few seasons in a row.
Yeah, it has. The thing is, I think with Road America, it's a track that's liked I wouldn't say loved because not everybody loves it, but it is liked, and I like the circuit. I think it's a cool circuit to drive around, and I don't say that about many circuits, but I think this one I do like, and I like Road America. It produces great racing. That long straightaway is longer than my high street. It's epic. It's got it all: turns, hairpins, carousels, fast corners in the kink. So I think the race is going to be epic. But then again, it's Thursday night. It's Radical Race Series. It's always epic.
It is. Doesn't matter what circuit we go to. Let's have a look at the championship standings so far, because we're only 3 rounds in, but it's getting interesting, I've got to say. Reigning champion of the last 2 seasons, John McCutcheon, is currently leading the way, but only 3 points behind is James Barry. And what a season he's had so far. Paul LeMay is back in 3rd and James Child 4th. They both gained last round after Simon Edwards' difficult race at Oulton Park. Luke Maxwell has actually got the highest average points per round so far this season with 54, because he's only been to 2 rounds. And that eclipses anybody in the field. So he's 6th. Darrell Taylor moved up a couple of places to get to 7th last round, with Paul Clark and Sergio De La Cruz rounding out the top 10. Penn Underdown on his return to the Radical Race Series is 11th, ahead of Jamie Bird, who scored 2 podiums back here a couple of seasons ago when we were at Road America. Michael LeMay is in 13th, ahead of Mike Booson, who's a long way down by his standards, in 14th. Robert Woodward rounds out the top 15 with Damien G and Clark Williams in 16th and 17th. In 18th position at the moment, it is Wayne Palmer, who's tied with Clark Williams on points, really. Phil Johnston is 19th, ahead of David Royston. Seth Brown and Tom Minor are tied as well in 21st. But Paul Godden is on 30 points, ahead of George Gonzaga. Then Patrick Charlton in 25th. Then it's Phil Glover, Chris Max Davies, Kian Palmer, Alan Patterson and Andy Thomas to round out the grid. Only 1 point so far for Thomas in the Radical Race Series so far this season. But it has been a difficult season for some. And there's been high numbers this season as well, James, in all honesty. That's kept the points pretty low for those who often finish down towards the back.
Yeah, I think it's great that the fact that we picked up a few drivers, and some good drivers, and it gives it a good mix. I think that's the thing. I think, to be fair, when you're in a series like this and they race so closely, you can't imagine 30 plus cars. I think where we're at the moment, between that 20 and 25 mark, is a good mix, because as it's shown already, Ewan, that we've got racing all the way through the field, and not just the front lot go and the rest follow and don't do anything. It's all the way through, and I think that's one of the things that makes this series so amazing, is the fact that there is racing all the way through the field. It's never ending. From Simon Edwards, John McCutcheon, who I'm not actually seeing at the moment, or am I going blind? No.
Hutchinson? No, I don't think so. No. I don't think he was in practice, but he often does stumble in a bit late. I didn't see Maxwell either, actually. Unless I was looking at, well, I admittedly I did look at practice with about 20 minutes to go and then not again, so I could be quite outdated with that information. However, I didn't see Maxwell there at all, unfortunately, and he didn't indicate to us when we were interviewing after his double win last week that he wouldn't be here this week. I think I even asked him about Road America, didn't I? I can't remember, but maybe he's not here today. I was hearing rumours that Dan Webster might be making a return as well, but I haven't seen him yet either.
No, I'm trying to look back through. I can't see anything that's given us an inkling that people aren't going to make it. Normally we get the list before, or somebody turns around and says, I'm not making tonight due to being whatever. But I'm not seeing anything here at the moment. But so technically, for John McCutcheon, that would be probably his first drop week, if I'm not mistaken. He's been here after that as well. For Luke Maxwell, though, he wasn't here race 1 and 2, was he?
Luke Maxwell wasn't here for the first race of the season, or was it this? I don't know.
I can't remember which one he wasn't here for. I know he's got to be on about 2.
I think second one.
2 drop weeks already. So,
Oh, you say that. Maxwell has been here for 2 rounds, so it's only been 1 that he's missed so far, but I can't remember which one it was. I think it may have been Manicore, actually, the second round of the season that he didn't go to. I think I've got inklings of remembering him at both Donington and Manicourt, so but that can't have been possible. So I don't know, in short. But anyway, we'll see who is here and just enjoy that for the moment. Simon Edwards is the first one to make his way around the circuit at the moment, and we know that he's going to be here once again because he always is. In the Radical Race Series, can't remember the last time he missed a race, in all honesty. It must have been quite a while ago. He's the first one to make it around there. Don't forget, of course, we've got the format back again, the new qualifying format for this season, extended to 11 minutes tonight because of Road America's length. And it is everybody out there together, of course, as normal for Season 4 of 2023. It's a fight for track space sometimes, but maybe not around here with nearly 2-minute laps in qualifying.
Yeah, it is at the moment. I just had a look. Luke Maxwell's only had 2 races counted. So this would be his technically second drop week if he's not here. And normally Luke's in early, so I'm going to take it as the fact he's not going to be here. So this would be Luke Maxwell's second drop week because he only has been here for 2 so far. So, yeah. I suppose technically he's going to have 2 lots of zeros, so you know it's not horrendous currently, is it really, for Luke Maxwell? At least he's not dropping 30, 40, 50 points. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yes, but
I knew that was going to be a but. I knew that was going to be a but.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that safety net to fall back on, does he? I talk about it a lot in drop week racing, I know, but when you miss rounds, it's it means that. But first of all, if you're trying to secure a championship early, as McCutcheon did last time, because his drop rounds were so strong, it actually required Simon Edwards he had to finish in the top 2 in the last 4 races and win 3 of them, didn't he, in those final 2 rounds. And that's mostly because of John McCutcheon's drop weeks that were just so strong and meant that Simon Edwards had to be so close going into the final round, and it removes that jeopardy. When you've got weak drop rounds, it means that you are very susceptible to losing a lot of points very late on, and that's no good when you're in a championship lead. You want that kind of security that a drop week provides you. And you don't have that if you miss rounds and take those as you drop rounds. So it's about jeopardy towards the end of the season. And if he is going to be a championship contender, first of all, he'll have to attend more than 50% of the races, which is his current attendance rate, unfortunately. But also, he will, be in danger, even right to the very end, because his drop round, well, at the moment, there'll only be 1 drop round where he's actually scored any points of any description.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but I'm sure there's a reason why Luke isn't here, right? And why John's not here. We know sometimes John jumps in. We might see him hop in towards the end of quali, but he's only got about 5 minutes left to do that. So let's keep an eye out. We've got Edwards, we've got Barry, we've got Buson. Mike Buson's not having an ideal season at the moment. I'm not going to lie. He's sitting quite low in the standings as well as Buson. He's down in 14th place and nearly 100 points off the leader already. So unfortunately for Mike Buson, he's done well here. Well, saying that, he's just dropped down to 6th, but he's going to have to get a bit of wriggle on this season, I think, mate, because I think he could be in, well, a little bit of trouble.
He's a long way down, Buson, isn't he? So, it's by his standards. So, yeah, it's not been a good start. Only 30-point average as well. I know he's only scored 60 points, but you've got to sort of, at this stage of the season, you've got to sort of look at the average points per round, if you like. And that's why I mentioned earlier that Luke Maxwell might well be the sort of championship leader by round 6 if he carries on the way he is. But obviously it's difficult to work out. John McCutcheon's points per round, if you like, are just over 52. James Barry's is just over 51. And Luke Maxwell's is just over, well, it's exactly 54. So you understand it's very, very close between the 3 of them, but Maxwell just has that slight edge at the moment, even though the standings don't reflect that because he's only been to 2 rounds so far, and that's where we stand with those. At the moment in this qualifying session, it's actually very close between Paul Clark, Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay, who are all separated by, a quarter of half a tenth of a second even. It's a big change from practice, actually, where the top of the field was relatively spread out.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see. Maybe Paul Clark's had his Weetabix this evening or something, because he's put in an absolute blistering lap. 159.125. He is flying. He's got some greens on the board as well, but it depends on the offset against the yellows that he's sitting in as well. Yeah, sectors 2, 4 and 5. So we'll follow Paul across the line and see what he does. If he's going to go and green that last sector as well, there could be an opportunity that he might actually break in to the really low 159 dead, for instance. Wow, 159 free, so that offset was a little bit more than what we thought. James Barry's coming over the line as well, 2.5 minutes remaining. Barry goes 159.453, so no improvement for him. But Simon Edwards has got some competition tonight in Paul Clark.
He has. It certainly has. And others as well, I would imagine.
Well, we've got
over the course of the day, but
we've got 10 drivers now within a second of each other.
Oh yeah, and that's why I said earlier on. You know, it's a lot closer than practice, because in practice there were only 6 drivers covered by a second, and I know that's over the course of 2 hours, is it? But even so, that's quite a big or quite a small amount of cars within that second margin, and now Edwards is not able to get the lead again. Never mind pull that kind of gap on the rest of the field. And also the other factor in all of this is the fact that he's not got into the 158s. He did manage that in practice. He's not done it over the course of 11 minutes here, and he's only got, a lap or so more to do that.
Yeah, he isn't going to get many more. He won't get another one. This is his final one for Edwards, and at the moment we're sitting on 2 yellows and a green. So we're 2 and 2 at the moment. We're matching them off. What's he going to do as we come down into Canada Corner over the outside rumble strips? We're going to be heading round 13 and 13A. Annoying. It could just be 14, and then in the right hand or a 14. But let's have a look and see. He's got another green. If he can green this final bit, he just might take pole right at the end.
Well, maybe, but Paul Clark is about 8 seconds behind, going to try and take it immediately back again. If he does, over the line for Edwards, it is that 58 we were looking for. Simon Edwards does set the fastest lap right at the end, and Paul Clark can't respond. It's not enough for Clark at the very end. A 59.2 for him. It means he'll miss out by a couple of tenths of a second. And he knew he had it in him, didn't he? Simon Edwards knew that lap time was in there, but he was just about finding it, and he leaves it to the very end, the last minute, to get that pole time, and surely it will be pole.
Yeah, it's got to be. We've got a few people running off at the moment. Ben Underdown as well is on a fast lap as he's coming round 14. These guys are all coming over the line now, the final ones at the bottom of your screen. So you should see them all start peeling off a little bit in a minute. Underdown 8th. But, Underdown's put in 4th. 4th place for Ben Underdown.
Oh. Good improvement right at the end there. 59.3 and up to the second row of the grid for Ben Underdown. That was impressive on his return to the Radical Race Series. Didn't do a single lap last season. He's back again this time around, we're glad to see. And still has the form, as we've just seen. Simon Edwards on pole, though, ahead of Paul Clark. Paul LeMay in that 3rd place, ahead of Ben Underdown, as we just said. Graham Brown up in 5th, ahead of 2nd place in the championship, James Barry. Mike Pearson and Paul Crabb are on row 4, ahead of Cedric De La Cruz and Jamie Bird. Seth Brown and Darryl Taylor are on row 6, and they're just ahead of those on row 7. Who I don't know.
What?
At the moment. Sorry. But
I'm sorry.
I don't have the grid in front of me.
There you go.
It's just, I'm just waiting for James to press buttons. Because I don't actually have the grid in front of me.
I was pressing it and it wouldn't do anything.
It just gives me quite an awkward moment, really, to try and guess.
I
Paul
do
Goddard
apologise.
and James Child on row 7 ahead of George Gonzaga and Robert Wood. Then Michael LeMay and Kian Palmer. Damien G and Andy Thomas round out the top 20. Phil Glover and Phil Jostin didn't set times there. Neither did Alan Patterson or John McCutcheon, who did make it onto the grid by the looks of it, although didn't set a time, so he must have just stepped in right about now. And there he is down the back. Big grid once again here. 24 means that there is a real risk of someone being classified and not scoring any points again here in the opening race of the evening. But that's exactly what we want to see. And we're going to see now how far McCutcheon can get through the field now as well.
Yeah, we are going to see it very, very shortly and see how John gets on. But Simon Edwards there, your pole man, doing an absolute stellar job. There he is in that nice purple pink livery, but the lights are on, Ewan.
Yeah, it's going to be another round of the Radical Race Series at Road America. We are underway, and Simon Edwards from the front of the field has got a good start. Not a good one from Clark, who's going to be swallowed up now by the likes of Underdown, who's further behind, and LeMay as well. Ben Underdown's nearly 3 wide down the inside of turn 1. It's not going to happen, and Paul Clark is going to hold on to second place, but it's all behind Simon Edwards, who is miles in front of the rest already. Going down a couple of places is Paul LeMay. He's down to fifth, excuse me. It's Barry who's gotten up to 4th for the moment, and Paul Crabb has gained some places as well. But a great start from Simon Edwards as they run down towards turn 5 for the first time.
Yeah, Paul Clark's money didn't get off the line very well, but he managed to hold on to that second place. No movements within the front two, of course. We know they're 2 by 2 further back as well. Crabb's just gone up the inside of Paul LeMay with Mike Bousson sitting in behind him here as they go roaring up into turn 6. Left-hander on the hill, and now we're off to turn 7 here, and this is great racing so far. We've also got Graham Brown battling it out side by side at one point with Sergio Dela Cruz, and now Darrell Taylor's in there as well. So some great action going on all the way through the field, and that is exactly what we said would happen from earlier on.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that Road America does as we ride on board with Darrell Taylor here. It's a bit of a gap from Graham Brown back really at the moment. It's James Barry's off on the exit of the carousel. I think he's gathered it back up again, and you can see the tyre track's actually in the grass there on the right hand side. He must have just run wide through the carousel. Would much rather ride there than at the next corner, because the kink can claim some victims, and we've certainly seen that in the past. It's side by side on the web towards Canada corner for Barry as well, as he's going to be dived, and he's going to try and retake LeMay. It's Bousson who's going to try and get that place off him though, round the outside of the penultimate corner. Great racing between the two of them. Barry's going to be forced on the outside again at the final corner, and Jamie Bird will be down the inside now. He makes it through, and he will at the final corner. Not a good lap for James Barry, who made an initial good start but has been losing places ever since.
Yeah, he's been dropping down the order into 8th now as well. They're going to be squeezed. Barry is squeezed against the wall here with Child on the right hand side. They're going into turn 1. Is it going to be side by side? Charles said no. He managed to hold on and take that, keep hold of that place. But now we've got Graham Brown in the mix as well. I think this is the first time out for Graham this season, and also most of last season. I can't actually remember Graham racing last season as well. But Ben Underdown and Paul Clark, they're going at it side by side down into turn 5.
Exactly what happened on lap 1 between these two, and it's happening again now down towards the corner. Oh, Ben Underdown's gone way too deep, and that was going on from a long way out. He locks up massively, runs very wide, and Paul Crabb is going to gain. Now down the inside goes Clark, and he will be back. Excuse me, LeMay. Done me again. LeMay down the inside to 4th place in towards Corvette. That's turn 6, of course, on that run up the hill towards the blind apex. Crabb there getting a little bit overexcited and going wide himself. Actually, he just went through the grass slightly at turn 5, but not as far wide as Ben Underdown did there.
Yeah, definitely not here as well. Mike Bousson's in the middle of this pack with Jamie Bird and Graham Brown behind him. Now I want to pick up on this man. Up 11 places already. He needs 3 more to be on that reverse grid pole, and there they are. Darrell Taylor, Seth Brown and James Barry. Can the Scotsman get this here? That's going to be an interesting one. Andy Thomas has had a moment as well for him, so unfortunately Andy Thomas there just going round. That does look like the entrance into turn 5. Paul Godden and Robert Woodward also look like they've had a moment as well, as John McCutcheon does go past Darrell Taylor. This is on the run down into Canada corner here. I got a funny feeling. Oh, Woodward.
Yeah, and I think he realised immediately that was on him, and he slowed up immediately to sort of let him back through again as McCutcheon is now down the inside of Daryl Taylor in towards turn 1. Oh no, they're both off very nearly. Taylor up more so, and McCutcheon slightly. What's going on up ahead as well? Because it's Graham Brown who's gone off, I think, at the third corner maybe. Well, maybe the first corner, actually, to be fair. That we'll have a look. But down the inside goes Bird now. He's in the slipstream of Mike Bousson, who's up to 6th place. This is a right old mess going down in towards the 5th corner. Side by side, Underdown through the middle, trying to go through there. Sergio De La Cruz involved. Seth Brown is now catching up, along with all the others. They're nearly 3 wide with Brown on the inside, further back there. In all the middle of it is Graham Brown as well. Barry will stay in 10th place at least, but this is not a good race for him so far. In a day where he could have gained some points, further points on John McCutcheon, of course. Now down the inside goes George Gonzaga very nearly into turn 8. This is a very busy group indeed from about 6th place on back.
Yeah, they're still going here as well. De La Cruz with Brown behind him. Bousson tackling on Bird. Krabs trying to have a go with the other, of course, eye lounge there of Paul LeMay. LeMay's trying to have a go at Underdown. Paul Clark's opened up the gap to about a second at the moment. He's not making inroads on Edwards, though. Let's put it that way. But he is making an escape from Underdown and Paul LeMay. He could do with Paul LeMay clearing Ben Underdown. He's looking up the inside of 13A before we go into 14. Unfortunately, now LeMay there has put himself under pressure from Crab. Crab's going to come running in out of 14 EU and down this long old straight, and I can guarantee Paul Crab's going to be in a position to have a go by the end of it.
Unfortunately, it's further back. Sergio De La Cruz has gone off, by the way, but on board with Paul Crab now as he moves to the inside. He's going to have the problem of no slipstream, but he doesn't seem to matter too much. Underdown there is going to just give that slipstream to LeMay, but it won't matter in the end. Thought LeMay was just going to creep back alongside and stay in front, but Crab gets through and will consolidate 4th position into turn 3. It stays in his hands as Bousson also stays in 6th place ahead of Bird. Then it's the crazy group with James Barry involved. He's back to 8th again, but McCutcheon's now involved in this group already. We always ask the question, can he make it to the top 10? The answer almost always is yes.
Yeah, it definitely is as well. And this group here providing some epic drafting going on there. There's Paul Crab running wide in front of us there as well. Now we've got the group coming down. McCutcheon's just gone, I believe, near enough up the inside of Graham Brown. He has taken Graham Brown and he took George Gonzaga. Now McCutcheon is in that reverse grid pole. Now for the Scotsman, he's got a choice. Does he keep going or does he stay where he is and knowing he's going to be 10 places ahead of Simon Edwards for the next one?
Well, I think he'll keep going anyway because I think he'll have the confidence that he can grab these extra few points and still take the full 40 for the second race. I don't think he's worried about getting too far away from the pole at the moment, because Simon Edwards at the moment is always going to be starting from 10th if things stay as they are, and there's no reason to suggest that they won't based on the opening 4 laps very nearly of this race. That was Bousson getting very close to Bird again. Those two can't seem to stop exchanging places. Mike Bousson is the latest one to be making the moves. Still for
he made a mistake.
5th place, by the way, although Bird gets straight back through again.
Yeah,
didn't even think Bousson went that wide there, but Bird got straight back through again for 6th. That's only going to slow them down. James Barry is sort of bringing this whole group back to these guys again. But those two championship rivals, Barry and McCutcheon, are right together again.
Yeah, but does he go? Does the Scotsman go for any more, or does he sit back and think, I've got this? Brown's gone defensive. Bousson and Bird in front of us. You can see still going at each other. Brown manages to hold McCutcheon back. Now, whether or not that was through choice for the Scotsman, or he's going to try and move up a little bit further. Don't get me wrong, points win prizes. We all know. No!
Oh! Not this time.
Not this time.
He's not going to do it this time.
No, but De La Cruz is going to have a go at Rodwood as well. And it's still going here with Bird and Bousson. They're still swapping places. I'm not really sure what's going to be the best camera to look at, what group to look at, because everybody's going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, they are. I think everybody's going to be getting to this group, though, mainly because of Bird and Boosen, who just can't stop battling at the moment. Only 3 laps to go, including this one, though, of course. Not many at all. And so time is running out for everybody. It's a 7-lap opener and a 12-lap feature, by the way. Next week at Spa, we'll be having a 7-lap opener as well, but only 11 laps for the feature. Can't really tell you why, but that's just the way it is. Bird will be looking to hold on to this 6th place, though, right at the very end. And just a little bit earlier on, he's had good success around here in the past. He scored 2 podiums in one night a couple of seasons ago. It was a season where Dan Webster, I think it must have been 2 seasons ago, maybe 3. Dan Webster won both races of the evening. Bird was joining him on the podium for both races as well. I think Child might have been the other one, actually. Bird looks to hang on to 6th place this occasion. No, that's too deep on the brakes. Almost exactly what Boosen did last lap, actually. And Bird this time is the one to make the mistake.
Yeah, he made a mistake. Too hot going in there as well. Robert Woodward, Sergio Dela Cruz have swapped places. Godden's got Jocelyn and Glover for company as well. I wonder how Phil Glover's doing in his motion sim here as well. Along Road America. Now this is it. We've got LeMay. We've got Underdown. We've got Crab. There's LeMay's teammate in Paul Clark. LeMay's under attack from Underdown. He's going to go and try and go around the outside. Boosen and Bird, well, as we can see, are still going at it. Barry has brought Brown McHutchinson with him as well. So Barry's not only sort of brought more, he's brought Brown and McHutchinson. So this little 10th to 6th battle, and then we've got 3rd to 5th in front of us. There's a lot going on here, and this could go either way for any of them.
There's an awful lot going on. McHutchinson just going to look to fight his way through the best he can. I think he's sitting back and we're hoping for the reverse grid pole. Think he's going to make some moves, and now he will do. Outside line of Seth Brown. Got to be careful of that. Brown very nearly went into the side of him there on the way in towards the brakes, but Brown stays ahead. Cut straight in front of McHutchinson, who gets into the back of him. And that could have ended a lot worse for everybody, but it didn't, thankfully. And they've caught each other off guard slightly, really. Brown cutting straight in front of McHutchinson, who broke and got straight into the back of the green machine in front. Thankfully, it all turned out all right, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been now, but you've got also down here with Sergio Dela Cruz, Robert Woodward and Paul Godden scrapping it out. As you can see, Woodward trying to have a go at Dela Cruz round turn 8 here. But it's interesting because we're talking about groups, right? And we're talking about battles all the way through. LeMay, Underdown, Crab. Then you've got Bird, Boosen, Barry, Brown and McHutchinson. Then we've got Brown and Gonzaga. And then we've got a little bit of a gap. Darrell Taylor and Sergio Dela Cruz has got Robert Woodward, Paul Godden and Michael LeMay and Phil Jocelyn and Phil Glover and James Child all closing up on them. So there's going to be a lot going on over this last lap, I think. So we'll try and keep an eye on it here, Ewan. But when you've got so much happening, it's a bit hard to know where to point the camera. I mean, that was Phil Glover.
It was down at Canada corner there. I think the drama started even before the last lap. Is it Godden? I think who got turned around, or Phil Glover, actually, I think it was, who got just turned around there into Canada corner. It was a big dive down the inside. It was Glover who made the dive, actually, and it was just way too aggressive in the end. Found himself off the road. Meanwhile, battle for 3rd place is on. LeMay still holds it, somehow hanging on to this final podium spot, but for now, it's under severe pressure. Jamie Bird is off at turn 1 as well. Everybody gains a place further behind. Ben Underdown down the inside now of Paul LeMay, who's been looking to hold on to this position all race long. It's very nearly into his hands at the end now. He brakes very late and stays ahead. He's done a good job at defending here, and now he's only got half a lap to go.
Yeah, Paul Crab's gone up the inside of Underdown. Crab has gone up the inside of Underdown round 6, and he's now trying to set after him. Barry here with Brown. McHutchinson is in 7th now as well. Gonzaga's having to go at great. The other Brown, Graham Brown here. So there's a lot going on, and Crab and Underdown are still going at each other. There is the Irishman. Behind that is the Englishman of Ben Underdown, as they're going to be running down now through the kink down into Canada corner. Who's going to get this one? Well, we're going to find out shortly.
Yeah, I thought he was going too wide there. Underdown, he was really tracking a lot wider than Crab was. Now goes Underdown down the inside into Canada corner, very close. Crab just loses the momentum on the end there, and it's good speed on the exit from Underdown. Outside line through the penultimate corner, and he should remain in fourth, or retained fourth, I should say, over the course of the final lap. Further in front, Simon Edwards is going to win another Radical Race Series race. It's the sprint race this time round, ahead of Paul Clark and Paul LeMay, who join him on the podium. Will it be Paul Crab in fourth? No, it will be Underdown who gets into fourth place, and on the last lap, John McCutcheon moves up to seventh.
Yeah, you had Barry and also Barry and Brown, Seth Brown, going at it towards the end of the line here. We got Phil Jocelyn. He's trying to trace down Damien G towards the back end with James Child. I want to have a look and see what happened to James. Unfortunately, he was having a great race there as well, was James Child, and also Jamie Bird. I want to keep an eye on and see what happened to him, because unfortunately he got caught up as well, and he was doing a great job. Oh, there's contact with Barry.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Well, that wasn't what I was expecting to see. But it's a difficult one to call, in all honesty. Difficult one to call. Did Bird get in front of Barry there, or did Barry brake too late and serve Bird into the wall? We'll find out, I guess, in due course. Simon Edwards wins the race, though. Paul Clark, Paul LeMay join him on the podium, with Ben Underdown just beating Paul Crab to the line for fourth. Mike Booston finished at sixth place ahead of his teammate John McCutcheon, Seth Brown, James Barry and Graham Brown round out the top 10. George Gonzaga finishes 11th ahead of Daryl Taylor. Jamie Bird 13th, with Robert Woodward and Sergio De La Cruz the final drivers within a half minute of the race winner. Paul Godden finishes 16th ahead of Michael LeMay, who was 17th, and then Damien G in 18th, just ahead of Phil Johnson. James Child was a few seconds off the back from that. And Phil Glover, Andy Thomas and Kian Palmer won't score any points despite being classified there. And Alan Patterson never took the start of the race anyway. Well, that was the opening 7 laps of this evening's racing. Now we've got 12 more coming up. But the long and the short of it is that John McCutcheon put another 2 points into James Barry, somehow from the very back of the field.
Yeah, let's be honest about it. It's not a shock, right? The guy's got pace. He clearly didn't need to go out and practice. He clearly didn't need to qualify. He's clearly going to sit in that second row. I think he will be on third, 1, 2, 3, 4, second row on the grid in race 2. So he's got an opportunity, and he has done what John McCutcheon does so well. He's just got pace for days, as John, and that's the thing. It's going to be tough for anybody to get near him, I think, as well during this feature race. I think if he can get out in front early, I think he'll be gone.
I think so, and the chances of him getting out front early are quite high as well, given that he'll be on the second row for the start of this one. So we'll see what happens once more, but it looks like it's going to be another good day for John McCutcheon already. 14 points accumulated. He wants a few more in this feature race, but you just don't know what's going to happen around here. Graham Brown will start from the front, though, ahead of James Barry, who's also got another good chance to take a big result here. Seth Brown and John McCutcheon on row 2, ahead of Mike Booston and Paul Crab. Ben Underdown and Paul LeMay will be on row 4, ahead of Paul Clark and Simon Edwards, who's got a lot of work to do from 10th. George Gonzaga and Daryl Taylor will be on row 6. And then on row 7, it's Jamie Bird and Robert Woodward. Sergio De La Cruz and Paul Godden are behind them, with Michael LeMay and Damien G 17th and 18th. Phil Johnson and James Child round out the top 20. Phil Glover, Andy Thomas and Kian Palmer were the final drivers to be classified during that first race. Alan Patterson didn't start, and so I have a feeling he may well not start this one either, and that seems to be the case. The lights are going to go on, though, for the second race of the evening. It's the feature race at Road America, and we are racing. It's Graham Brown from the front, but what a start from James Barry in the grey and red, getting off to a stormer. Through the middle goes Paul Crab. Somehow he's got off to a stormer as well, with 3 wide for second. Seth Brown on the very outside is going to tap Crab, who goes for a slide. He goes for a spin. The field will scatter scatter in avoidance behind. Let's hope everybody got there through cleanly. That could have been chaos further on in the background, but what a disaster for Crab, who got off to a decent initial start, and it all fell away very, very quickly. Now down to 22nd in the field. The field now runs down towards turn 5 for the first time. It's Graham Brown on the defensive from Mike Booson and John McCutcheon just up in front. Brown will hold on to that position by the looks of things. Oh no, there's been a spin there as well. There's been incident there as well. Mike Booson there has gone round entirely by the looks of it.
Yeah, we'll try and catch up with that, but let's give it a couple of laps. Graham Brown's on the grass as well. Graham Brown is on the grass. He's dropping down the order here once more. James Barry got a flyer off the start, went like an absolute rocket. Seth Brown didn't do a bad job, neither did John McCutcheon. Look at that. Look at that, up 6 places already as Simon Edwards. And then we've got this gaggle that are just literally throwing cars at each other here. Darrell Taylor's now on the grass as well. He's made a mistake and got off at the carousel. So this middle pack is providing the action, and there is a lot of action to have. And Robert Woodward at the moment, well, sir, you are the cork in the champagne bottle.
Yeah, it's 7th place for Woodward at the moment, but it could be a whole lot worse in the near future because of how many drivers he has directly behind. Through the final couple of corners he goes now. It's LeMay who's next in line, by the way. Then Jamie Bird, Sergio De La Cruz to round out the top 10. Mike Booson's recovered to 11th, and he's in this train as well. Graham Brown, of course, was the one he had that incident with for Booson, as John McCutcheon makes a move on Seth Brown. This one not unexpected at all, but I think what was unexpected was the proximity of Simon Edwards after only one lap.
Yeah, but the problem is I think the start caused a lot of calamity. We'll try and have a look back and see, because there was action further back, right? It was kicking off further back as well. So this is the action from Paul Crabb's perspective. So he's gone round. George Gonzaga's gone round. Goddard's had to go off as well. Yeah, Goddard's had to go off as well. You know, so there was a lot of repercussions for certain drivers from the fact that he has gone off. Paul Clark's trying to hold Ben Underdown here as well. Underdown's just got up the inside of 6 and a job done for him. But Paul LeMay has got a gaggle. We've got Bird, Woodward, De La Cruz, Bousson and Jocelyn. And then we've got Child, G, Glover, Godden, LeMay, Darrell Taylor, Kian Palmer, Graham Brown as well, all in the mix. So there's a hell of a lot going on at the moment.
Simon Edwards has now gotten up into 3rd place ahead of Seth Brown. So onto the podium now for 3 of the big contenders here this season. Already sort of starting to outline. Of course, the big 3 drivers we've seen contest the championships over the last 3 seasons if you include this one, but certainly the last 2, which of course have resulted in John McCutcheon victories. Arguably the last 3, I guess, as well, all of 2023. It's been Luke Maxwell, Simon Edwards and John McCutcheon. It's them again, but James Barry's there as well, and he is leading this race right now. Round the outside there was Jamie Bird on Paul LeMay. That was a good move in towards Canada corner. He got it slowed up in time and got through as well. Woodward, unfortunately, has dropped down quite a lot on this lap. Down to 9th, so I think maybe Clark was before, but Bird and LeMay have certainly gotten through on this lap, and there's still more lining up behind him.
Yeah, Edwards has cleared Brown. Edwards has cleared Seth Brown. Paul LeMay's going up the inside of Jamie Bird. He's pulled out. He's hit that wall of air. Can he carry it through? He can. And Paul LeMay moves himself up into 7th place at the moment. So a great job from Paul LeMay, but he's still got a tough battle. De La Cruz is looking up the inside of Woodward as well. Woodward gives him room on the exit of turn 3 on that run now. Down into turn 5 here, Ewan. We haven't gone crazy. There is 4 in the middle, but they are going to be going 3 wide here once more. I think they're going to have a good old go at going. Who's going to get it as they come down into turn 5?
Oh, it's difficult, and Woodward just edges out. Booson there, and also to De La Cruz, but goes around entirely. Well, he was doing well to start with, but unfortunately the spin was sort of self-inflicted as he tried to hold on to the places, and I think he was just able to get out of the way of the racing line before the next pack got onto the corner, because that could have been very nasty for everybody behind. Created a bit of a smoke screen for them, in all honesty. But I think he got out of the way in time. Just unfortunate. Don't think there was any contact.
Yeah, I don't think there was. He was quite lucky with that. But look at Jocelyn. Jocelyn has got Charles, Glover, G, Goddard, May, LeMay, Taylor, Brown, all going at him. Paul Crabb's not too far behind either. The Irishman is there with also Robert Woodward behind him. So that's where Woodward got back onto the track earlier on. Barry out in front, 2.7 seconds over Edwards. Brown going as well. Burns, Charles having a go at Jocelyn. He does go through. Jocelyn's on the defence from Glover behind there as well. Glover's in the mix, having a good old scrap there as well. Go on, Phil, have it, son. Look at him going for it. I love it. He's putting it in this week, is Phil Glover.
He's had a very good start to this race, actually. If you remember, he started, 21st, 22nd?
Yeah, it's up
a long way down. And so 21st, and now he's up to 13th now, just behind Jocelyn. Looks like Bousson is still having trouble getting past Sergio De La Cruz at the moment. Maybe suffering with a bit of lack of straight line speed, actually. Lifts off on the way in towards turn 1. Think he might try this move at turn 5, but I think he's struggling with straight line speed, really, because he struggled to get past someone in the first race, and now he's struggling again.
Yeah, I don't know why. Is it the fact he's running too much wing, or is he just not getting the pull? McHutchinson must have made a mistake. He has lost a position to Simon Edwards.
Well, that must have been a solo error, because he wasn't even near anyone at the time. Let's have a look at what it was. Well, this is not...
this is turn 5.
Is it? Oh, yeah. It is. It's turn 5. And it is a half spin. He did that earlier on, didn't he, at turn 3, when he was in 11th place or 10th place, just on the back of a group. He had to sort of re-catch everyone. That must have been a little while ago, because he's re-passed Seth Brown again ever since that. But even so, now back to 3rd place. McCutcheon losing points to his main 2 rivals in this race.
Yeah, Jocelyn's now the cork in the bottle. You can see on the left-hand side there, we've got 12th to all the way down into 20th. Within this pack, we've got Phil Glover, who is driving the living wings off this SR10 at the moment as well. Down through the kink we go. Here is 6th gear. Go on, Glover, hold it. As he goes off now, down through the rest of it, coming into Canada corner. He's going to look for the outside.
Oh.
He's going to look for the inside. He's going to look for the outside. He's looked on the inside. He's dummied him. Can he hold it? Can he hold it? He can. Oh, Damien G's come from nowhere. What is going on there?
And Jocelyn as well, round the outside and through. Oh no, spin in the background as well. Disaster for LeMay. It's Michael LeMay who's gone off along with Graham Brown. Yeah, the two of them have gone off at the penultimate corner, and Glover is only being overtaken ever since Canada corner, where he made that dive. It's all been going a bit wrong for him. He has got good straight line speed though, and Daryl Taylor is looking to cash in on that and use the slipstream of Glover in towards turn 1. Glover will hang on to 14th at least, but the battle we're seeing further back in this group, racing that we weren't really expecting, but you do get from Road America, of course, side by side on the way down towards turn 3 as well. And in the end, it's Glover who is hanging on to those places. Further back, Gordon, who was on the inside there, pushing out Taylor and Paul Crabb, who must not be enjoying this, trying to get back through the field.
No, I want to have a look at Damien G's double overtake, but there's so much going on. I'm worried I'm going to miss something here. Phil Jocelyn has now got that place back. Is he going to lose the second one to Glover? Glover's on the inside as well. He does. The mighty Phil Glover has put himself up into 13th place here from literally up 8 places at the moment as well. We can't pull him in for an interview now. He's making... Oh, he just made a mistake out of 8. Oh, right. We got 2 seconds. I want to see how Damien G did this, right? Because he went in like an absolute rocket. Look. Oh, there was contact with Jocelyn and Glover. And G just went, thank you very much there, Ewan.
Oh yeah, I think Glover went a bit too deep into Canada corner anyway, really. And when you're on that tight of a line, it's really hard to get it slowed up in time anyway. So I think that was always going to be pretty difficult. Now, I thought that was Graham Brown just in front of them, but it can't be. It's Phil Jocelyn who is just up in front. And trying to get through there was Phil Glover and couldn't quite do it. And so now going through is Damien G side by side, and he does retain the place as well. Glover has no momentum over the curbs there. Godden will look to get involved, but can't quite in towards the final turn. Now Glover's going to use his straight line speed, which we know he's had over the course of this race so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job at the moment. And now we've got Godden Glover looking. G's got, well, I'm not sure what Glover was doing. I thought he was going to try and dummy him. He dummied out Phil Jocelyn 3 times as well. He's got such a good run through turn 1. Has Glover. He's got that nailed at the moment here, Ewan, and he's doing an absolute stellar job. He is literally putting Damien G. Oh, crab.
Oh, crab.
Oh, Glover's already gone. We're not even under the bridge.
Wow, he has got some straight line speed and goes straight through there. Damien G may have got a poor exit though, because he is going to be gobbled up by Jocelyn as well. By the looks of it, not quite. G will hang on with the
Godden.
inside line there. Godden, I should say, not Jocelyn. He's at the front of this field. It's Paul Godden who's just in the back run there. And Robert Woodward here as well. Let's not forget, who's lost so many places this race. Now Glover goes down the inside at turn 7, which is unconventional, but a mistake from Jocelyn has opened up the door, and Phil Glover is now in 12th place.
I am loving this from Phil Glover. I am not going to lie. It's like watching the kid at the sweet shop. He is taking them out one by one. But we have forgotten that there's a race going on up front as well. Underdown and Brown are now going at each other through Canada Corner. Brown just loses that place to Underdown there. But come on, Phil Glover. What is going on? Good evening, Phil. Sorry, I've just seen you on YouTube there as well, but there's been so much going on, I haven't even looked at it. Phil Glover, he's on a flyer, really.
Yeah, absolute flyer is Phil Glover. Jocelyn behind, then it's Damien G. Further back from that, we've got Paul Godden. Then Robert Woodward, Darryl Taylor, Paul Crabb as well, who must really not be enjoying this after his spin earlier on. He was looking for a top 5, a second top 5 of the evening earlier on in this race. That's not going to happen now. He's just looking to pick and choose his moments. Side by side up in front between G and Jocelyn, but also immediately in front of him it's Taylor and Woodward. Up from above we can see here it's 3 wide very nearly, as some struggle with straight line speed and others certainly are not. They all sort themselves out through turn 1. Crab can't go anywhere for the moment.
No, he's just kind of got to sit there. He's just got to sit there. Look at Glover. His pace in that car. I tell you what. Go on, Phil. Have some of it, son. Ben Underdown and Robert Woodward just look like they may have just made a little bit of contact here as well. I've got a funny feeling there was a slight bit of contact from Underdown and Brown, and that's brought Paul Clark into the mix here as well, Ewan. So there's still battles happening. Paul Clark, Ben Underdown, and then, of course, Charles Bousson, Dela Cruz, and then that Jocelyn battle. So it's going off all the way through the field. 3 packs of battles, and one that is definitely not over for that 13th place, I can tell you that much.
No, further back. Oh dear, and we've got one off the road. I think it's Woodward who's off the road.
Oh.
At the back of the field it is. From that group, it's unfortunate for him, given where he started this race. Oh, does he get clipped there or not?
Yeah.
Can't quite tell. He might have done by Crab, who was just behind. Maybe he got clipped on the way through 7. It was side by side between Crab and Taylor. And then just up in front was Woodward, just slowing down because of Godden slowing down.
On his own?
No, there was no clip there.
No.
It was a deceptive camera angle because they looked way closer than they were. Woodward just lost it on his own, which is somewhat unusual.
He hit the curb, didn't he, on the exit? And unfortunately, if you're on the throttle under the curb, you are going to be in deep trouble. So for Robert Woodward there, unfortunately, that was, well, all on you, dear sir. Not going to lie. But let's have a look and see what Pousson's going to be able to do here from Dela Cruz. Because Dela Cruz, to be fair, he's really improved this season, Sergio Dela Cruz. And he's done a great job with his racing. You know, 3rd last time out in the feature at Alton Park. He's had a half-decent season, I think, from his standards. And he's sitting 10th in the standings. He's on 80 points. He's in contact with the group in front of him of Taylor, Crab, Clark. So for Sergio Dela Cruz, he's got a good opportunity here to really kind of put his stamp and move up here. So fair play to Dela Cruz tonight, but poor old Mike Bousson languishing in the championship standings, and Road America has not been his best race.
No, unfortunately, it's not been Mike Bousson's season so far, really. you've got to say. 2 races so far, an average of 30 points over the 2 of them. That's pretty low by his standards, as that's Paul Crabb trying to make up a million places at once, and he has got 2. Taylor and G is that it is side by side. Further back, Taylor on the inside at turn 6 should have the place and will do. The inside often prevailing through Corvette. Crabb just behind Jocelyn now then, and finally he'll be free, but this will have taken a lot longer than he envisaged.
Yeah, he definitely did, and he's got the ever-flying Phil Glover. The man who's got nitrous in his SR10 tonight. He looks... I don't know what rig he's got on that and whether or not he's set it up as a Simon Edwards setup here, Ewan, but Phil Glover is pacey on the straights. Crabb's going to have his work cut out. It's all right clearing, Jocelyn, but as the saying goes, it's one thing catching, it's another thing overtaking. So for Paul Crabb, he's got to clear Phil, Jocelyn. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oh no! Well, a disaster for everyone involved. A great battle comes to a pretty sour end, unfortunately. Oh, and we're trying to get out of the way here for the likes of Michael LeMay, who's still in this race, by the way. I think that was Michael LeMay. Let's have a look at what happened.
You see it in front.
It was contact. Yeah, not through the right-hander, which normally claims the victims, but further in front. And then there's a smoke screen, first of all, and the track's blocked as well. And so what do you do at that point? I think... For me there, Crabb is alongside and gets squeezed unfairly, really. And it creates a monumental accident for those behind. But it's a really disappointing way to end that battle because it was fantastic while it lasted. Unfortunately, it doesn't last the distance. There's the view that I think Godden got, or was it Damien G, maybe? G, they look quite similar from this angle. There's Crabb again, and there's another bit of contact. You can see all of G's front end has disintegrated and come back again all at once. But yeah, real shame to see that battle end the way that it did, and we've got many down pit lane now.
Yeah, we have. It's such a shame. Taylor, Godden, Woodward, G, Brown, unfortunately out. And, man, I didn't want to see that because those guys were putting on an epic battle from 12th down to 16th. And now it's just kind of all gone, well... It's all gone a little bit Pete Tong, hasn't it, unfortunately, and it kicked off everything, and such a shame, such a shame. They were doing so well. They'd had such great racing. I think that was one of the hard things to swallow, is the racing was so good, and yeah, it just ends that. That's such a shame. There's no grip on the grass confirmed. Well, maybe, Martina. Where are you anyway? Why are you not racing?
Yes, doing a lot of racing in real life, by the way, is Martina Ward. Don't you know? But
yes, I am aware,
but not so much.
But you know,
not so much in the Radical Race series, unfortunately. I think maybe as recently as last weekend or the one before. I seem to remember recently. Anyway, unfortunately not in the sim for the moment, but which is a shame for now. But hopefully she'll be back soon again. Battles further up towards the top 5 are starting to reignite. Really, we're seeing those further back disintegrate in quite spectacular fashion, as we've just seen. But now it's time for the one for 5th place. Jamie Bird down the inside of Clark and under down in 1. Get up inside the top 5 again. It's been a good evening overall for all of these 3, actually. 2 top 10s in the 2 races.
Yeah, now Bird and was that Clark, isn't it, there as well? Bird and Clark going at it. You can see the wide line Paul Clark takes on that entry into 5. Damien G comes up and says, that was a shame. Darrell Taylor comes up and says, DQ'd. To watch that battle come to an end like that was gutted. Absolutely guttering, because it was such a good battle. Such a good battle.
Yeah, really entertaining stuff from those at the back of the field. It was all outside the top 10, of course, and still entertaining as ever, but it's come to an end and we've had to focus elsewhere. Thankfully, those other battles have actually picked up, almost as if they knew that the one further behind had gone from us. They've started to ignite again, and now we've got 2 3-car trains, one for 5th place, one for 9th. Charles is at the front of this one, with Busen and De La Cruz just behind. Busen with a good run through the kink now and a good run round these slightly gentler left-handers. He moves down the inside. It's quite late on the brakes, but he pulls it up in time and makes his way through to ninth again, but he's going to have trouble hanging on to it with the straight line speed that he has.
Yeah, now we've got Paul Clark. I just want to pick up on the straight because we know this is where the majority of this happens, right down into turn one. You can see what Underdown's doing. We will jump back to De La Cruz, I promise, and have a look and see there what's going on with him. But there we go, nothing this time around. But now De La Cruz is trying to get Buson. Buson's trying to get Chard coming down into that turn one. They've only got one, and where's Simon? James Barry. He's on his way down to turn 5. So hopefully Barry won't make a mistake, but we will look at the fact that Edwards has closed in. These guys are now going back down again, the straight again here, Ewan, down into turn 5. So it's all going to be tough. Paul Clark goes out in that normal line. Now, if Underdown was a little bit closer there, that's leaving the door wide open.
It does a bit, but given this is not the last lap, sometimes it doesn't always matter around here at this stage. Although they're just sort of positioning themselves for the last lap. I do think being in the third position in this group is not a great place to be, and especially with Bird's pace that actually looks stronger than the other two. It's a slight worry if they do want to finish inside the top 5, but sometimes it is intentional that you will just hang back and intentionally lose in a battle, if that makes sense, to just take track position through the kink. They'll go again then, and it is getting fairly close for the race lead as well. I think we're going to run out of laps for that, but James Barry leads by only 1.4 seconds for now.
JB Bird there, just gone past. Almost Paul Clark. He is. They're going to run side by side out of Canada corner here. Clark's not giving it up. We know he doesn't give up very easily here, Ewan, and he doesn't give up places that comfortably. So for Jamie Bird, he's going to have to go again. We're on that final lap. It's almost down to 1.2 at the moment with the leaders. But this is all hotting up in this battle for 5th, 6th and 7th here as well as we go on to the final lap. Barney waving, final lap. What a race this has been. Take your hat off, take a bow. It has been incredible, and well, what can we say? Shame it ended the way it did.
Yeah, it certainly is for that battle. You know, you'd think the way we're talking about this battle that it was what a great one for the lead or something, but no, it was just a fantastic fight between 6 to 8 drivers. We're all going at it all race long, and it was absolutely fantastic. Now Ben Underdown looks to be making his way through to 6th. It's side by side with Clark. Can't do it though. Clark stays on the inside and makes his way through, or he stays ahead. Now Ben Underdown will go back to the inside, and this is the decisive moment, because round the outside at Corvette is not easy to do, and Underdown knows that. By taking the inside, he gets 6th place as well. So Clark pushed out, and Underdown is through on the last lap.
Yeah, he is as well. But look at Martinez. Oh, De La Cruz, don't do yourself. What's Chard and Buson? Don't make contact. Sure, Buson got pushed out. Here he comes, the mighty man in the Castrol. Go on, Phil Glover, up 11 places in the top 10. Mate, if you don't have a chat with him at the end, I will. What a stunning run from Phil Glover here, coming towards the end of this race. I love it when this man does, right? He does so good as well, doesn't he? He gets caught up in a lot of stuff and has a bit of a rough one, but now he's absolutely flying. Anyway, final lap, final run. James Barry could have win. Sorry, I'm a bit of a fan.
Yes, it's not a big gap at the front of the field, but James Barry is going to win. It's another one in the Radical Race Series for him. Simon Edwards takes 2nd place with John McCutcheon on the podium as well. Further back, Clark will be Underdown to the line here. There's not enough straight line speed in that car behind to make his way through. And is Phil Glover going to get to that top 10 or not? Mike Buson's going to hound him all the way, but he's not going to have the straight line speed to do this. Glover's got one of the best straight line speeds, and Bruto's got one of the worst.
Go on,
I'm not
Phil.
even confident he would have done it at turn 1 if this was not the last lap. But he certainly doesn't beat him to the line, and Phil Glover will make it into the top 10.
Yeah, go on, Phil. Have it, son. Love it when an underdog does that. He done so well. He was flying, and he made up 11 places. One of the highest gainers with James Child. Both of them on 11. Darrell Taylor, that was awesome up to that. Made that battle. We picked it up, right? Because, you know, we like following the battles, and it all died down a little bit at the front. And that was just amazing. We were loving it here, and everything. The backwards, the forwards, the swapping, the jostlings, it was incredible. Absolutely loved that. Absolutely loved it. So, yeah, fair play to all of you guys. Well done.
Yeah, it was a very good battle indeed to watch, even though it was quite a long way down the field. It was just great racing, and that's exactly what this series is all about. Don't always get that at Road America, really. I know a lot of people like it for racing, but I haven't always experienced great races around here. But that was good racing further back, and a great way to sign off the feature race, although it did end, unfortunately, in catastrophe for a lot of them. Darrell Taylor, Paul Godden, Damien G, Phil Jocelyn, Robert Woodward, all out of the race by the end of this one, which is a real shame.
I think that was
for
it,
them.
wasn't it? It was. The thing is, everybody up until that point had done literally incredible, and it was just this one moment that caused chaos. And you can see from Taylor's point of view, he could see it all. There is no way in hell Darrell Taylor is not Spider-Man. He just doesn't know where to go. They're coming from all angles. There's the other bit of contact as well. Gets him now. And then we go to Damien G and boom. It was just done. Nowhere for him to go, and it was just such a shame. Look at it. The aftermath of it all was just chaotic. But yeah, great racing. Let's have the results of the feature for you. There you go.
Yeah, let's see the results before we go any further. James Barry winning by just over a second in the end, ahead of Simon Edwards. That's his first feature race win of the season, by the way, for James Barry. John McCutcheon joins them on the podium while losing his points lead for now. Seth Brown, Jamie Bird round out the top 5 with Paul Clark and Ben Underdown racing right to the line, as we saw. Paul LeMay finished a fairly lonely 8th in the end, ahead of James Child, Phil Glover and Mike Boson, who came across the line pretty much together as well. Sergio De La Cruz finished 12th ahead of Michael LeMay and Kian Palmer, the last driver to finish within a minute. George Gonzaga, Paul Crabb and Andy Thomas were the final drivers to actually cross the line, even despite having 23 starters. Phil Jocelyn, Damien G, Darrell Taylor, Paul Godden and Robert Woodward were all caught up in that incident a few laps from the end, with Graham Brown caught up a few laps before that, although I don't entirely remember what it was.
No, I tried to have a search to see what Graham Brown got himself up to, and it was this. So let's see if we can hopefully pick it up. Come on, be nice. So I'm going to presume, where is Graham Brown in all of that? Was that him and Michael LeMay? Was it him and Michael LeMay?
Yes, Michael. I think it was Michael LeMay who was off with him there, yeah.
So he's running now, isn't he? He's in 13. Oh.
Yeah, this is so he just gets rear-ended there. Anyway, gets involved in that. We did see that briefly, but not in too much detail until now. Let's bring in the opening race winner, though, and double podium tonight for Simon Edwards, who can now chat to us. Welcome in, Simon. Good to have you with us. As ever, a good race for you today, a good round, first and a second overall, and you very nearly got to the race lead right at the end as well. Did you believe that you could catch Barry throughout that second race, or did you know that it was too far away?
It just needed one mistake from James there, and he didn't make it. He just made, he was losing maybe a tenth a lap. So I was just tantalising. I could see him every time. There's certain corners you look at the distance of the car ahead, and I could just see him half a car towards me, and I couldn't put enough pressure on to get him to make a mistake. And it teaches me for giving everybody my setup, really, doesn't it? So James says he ran it. So
Did Phil Glover have it, Simon?
he did. He had it. He actually had. I made a slight mod while I was in the race. It was worth nothing really. It was just a little bit of stability on one of the corners, and I gave Phil that one as well, and that's what he ran in the race. So.
Oh, he was so fast down the straight, holding every. Oh, I just watch it back. You'll see. Loved it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we put short gears on because this car has got so much drag from when it was out first. It was quite a low drag car, but now it's got such a high drag, even though we'd taken most of the downforce off it, that short gears were still the best gears. So that's probably why he was shooting out of the corners and getting to his terminal speed fast.
Well, that's what I was going to say, actually. We're informing you that Phil was fast. I mean, I was going to say you probably experienced a similar thing if you were on the same setup. I mean, was it particularly noticeable for you? We didn't see so many of your battles, really, throughout that second race. And obviously, you weren't near anyone in the first race either. And was it particularly noticeable, the straight line speed for you, in terms of helping you to overtake around here, which some people who had higher downforce on, like Mike Booston, for example, did struggle with a bit?
I can't tell you that because everybody just fell off in front of me, or I had a small mistake, so I just went straight past them in this lower corner. So I know John behind me had put standard gears on. Both myself and Paul Crabb had played with that in practice, and it's about 0.3 of lap slower, just on your own. If you were in a pack, maybe it could give you an advantage down to Canada Corner, because on short gears you were hitting the rev limiter about 100 metres before the corner, but that was the only place you were hitting the rev limiter in short. So everywhere else you were in the peak torque band just as you were getting to the terminal speed. So it was about a 0.3 loss. So it was a bit perplexing, really.
Finally, Simon, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just everybody in the league, I think, because it's come back to be reasonably big again, hasn't it? Did you work out how many people had come in? I forgot to have a look, actually.
24 there was for this race.
Yeah, so it's getting a good amount of people again. Let's hope it keeps that or gets bigger. So yeah, and I'm going to give out setups every week that I can, and hopefully it'll pull the pack together as well.
What?
You're not starting to regret your decisions to do that.
Phil Glover's going to be flying. Love it. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Getting very excited about Phil Glover today, is James.
Go back, Simon. Go back and watch it, and you'll see what he did. He was awesome and one of the biggest gainers in the field. Up 11 places with James Child during that feature. Oh, mate, he awesome.
Right. Okay. Ask him when you speak to him. Ask him who set his kit up.
Yeah, well, we're not worried about that, Simon. We don't want to give you any more credit. You're a 5-time champion. Phil's Phil. He tries every single week, bless him. But yeah, we'll ask him anyway, Simon. Don't you worry.
Thank you.
We'll be able to speak to him later. Thanks very much for joining us, Simon, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, no, not next week. I'm away next week. Although I'll be about 3 miles away from Phil, and he says, "Pop over and drive my rig."
Don't change the account though, please. Yes, okay. We'll see you the week after then, hopefully, Simon. But yes, thanks very much for joining us, and congrats on today.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Thanks very much. Simon Edwards there, who will be driving for Phil Glover next week, as it turns
Conspiracy theory.
He doesn't need it. Yeah, we'll know when Phil Glover takes pole next week what's been going on. To be fair, I don't think Simon has a motion rig, does he? So maybe he wouldn't be quite as quick because he'd have to adjust.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's not. We don't have to think about that anyway because it's not happening. James Barry won the second race of the evening. He can now join us. I think we've just interrupted the conversation.
Simon was congratulated. Yeah, Simon was. Yeah.
Oh,
saying well done.
I apologise for interrupting you there. Welcome in. Good to have you with us again. And a relatively successful evening. Certainly in the second race, we had to hang on from Simon Edwards. How confident were you that you were going to make it towards the end there?
Well, early in the earlier stages, around lap 3-4, I think Simon was behind me, and I thought he was going to catch me. I thought he was going to be half second a lap faster than me, and I thought it was inevitable that he was going to come and get me. But the more I just pushed on, I just focused on my delta time and focused on my lap times, and I was fast enough, I guess. He caught me about 2/10 a lap, I think, and the more the laps went on, the more I thought, this is it, I'm going to do it.
And yeah, in the end, you did hang on. I mean, in that first race, though, I really didn't know what your pace was like because so much stuff was happening around you. I mean, was that first race particularly frustrating for you? You seemed to be getting a bit of bad luck with the battles that were going on, and you just seemed to be falling back generally. What were your feelings after that first race going into the second one?
It was bewildering during that race. I wasn't sure why I was going backward. I guess it's just the draft here is so strong. I made a mistake at the long right-hander, and then from there on I just dropped so many places, and I was being challenged for the 10th place at one point. I was just, in my mind, I just wanted to make sure I got top 10 so that I was, in a competitive place for the feature. So I just held my nerve. I had an incident with Jamie Bird, I think on the last lap. I don't know if you saw that, but that was a close one.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Did you think that he cut in front of you, or you broke too late and went into him?
I did, yeah. In the moment, then I watched the replay. I did feel like he moved across on me as we were just approaching the braking zone. I don't think I did anything wrong there.
That was the general.
I don't know what he thinks.
Well, I don't know. I've not heard from him yet, actually. But that was the general feeling I got actually after watching it. But admittedly, I've only seen it once, so it's somewhat hard to judge. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, James, before we let you go this evening?
Shout out Simon for all the kind of work he does on setups and posting videos and stuff. It's been really useful. I wouldn't have beaten him today if he didn't do that kind of thing. And yeah, that's it, I think. And you guys for the broadcasts, I always enjoy watching them back.
Thanks very much. You can't keep telling Simon that, though, because otherwise he will stop if he knows. But anyway,
I've got one win now. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations on that win tonight, James, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Cheers. See you guys. Thanks.
Thanks very much, James Barry there. Winner in the second race here at Road America tonight in the Radical Race Series. We'll go to Paul LeMay next. He was on the podium earlier on in the first race of the evening, and we can chat to him now. Welcome in, Paul, as well. Good to have you alongside us. A fairly interesting evening of racing, I've got to say, from up and down the field. I think in the end you did find yourself on your own finally, but the first race there was a little bit of battling going on with you, and the early part of the second there was stuff going on as well. How was it to race around here once again, Road America?
Yes, evening guys. Yeah, it's always great fun at Road America. Absolutely love it. First race was a bit hectic with Ben and Paul, and it was really tough, but really enjoyable. Absolutely brilliant fun.
I mean, I sometimes get in two minds about this circuit because I don't like driving it very much, and sometimes it doesn't give that trade-off with racing as well, but tonight it certainly did. I mean, in terms of setups, we've been speaking about that a lot tonight, and which one you've gone for. Was it more sort of low downforce for you to sort of overtake a bit more? Were you disappointed with any of the choices that you made on setup in terms of straight line speed today?
No, I wasn't disappointed at all. I went for short gears for qualifying. I was running 1.6 on the wing, and then the standard gear set in both races, and it worked out really well. I gave Paul Clark my setup, so he did pretty well. So he owes me a beer.
I've got a request.
What's that, mate?
Please, for the love of God, give your car a different colour than the blue roll bar, because Ewan keeps getting it wrong every single week of who's in what car, mate. All right. So
You and Paul Clark do send me into complete confusion every week.
Fluorescent yellow, then, yeah.
Yeah, or,
Yeah, yes.
or put your name on the front or something. I don't know. Don't put Paul because he'll get even more confused if you just put Paul. He'll be knackered. But
Yeah.
whack something on it, mate.
Just
because
put Paul.
just
Imagine
put
if they both just put Paul on as well. That'd be
Paul
such a
St.
nightmare.
Robert. I notice it, Mr. LeMay, but unfortunately, Mr. O'Leary, he's younger than me, and he just can't keep up
It's
with
not
it.
obvious. It's
Too
not
many late
obvious
nights,
enough
I
to me.
expect.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
It's-
With us old
Yeah.
people with slippers blanket in bed by 9, you know what I mean? For Ewan, he's up till God knows when. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
It's it's probably the other problem is the fact that you're so similar on pace so many weeks. So you
Yeah.
always end up next to each other, and then I really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
we've always been similar on pace.
Yeah.
You know, since I came to the league, you know, it was always a bit of a marker for me, you know. So I always wanted to try and, you know, you always have someone you want to try and keep up with a beat, you know. And he when I joined, he was one of the guys, you know. So and of course he's a great defender. So I like to learn. I like to learn from him. You see.
Yeah, just chuck your car in the middle of the track, Paul, and then nobody's going to get past you, and then about 5 feet on either wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yes, it's a bit of a nightmare for me. But anyway, well, I'll eventually learn. Just one last thing, by the way, I want to ask you about the short gears. Because I've not driven the Radical around here, basically, doesn't the short gears mean that you're topping out in terms of the rev limiter at the end of the straights, or is that not a problem?
Yeah, coming down to Canada Corner, you're pretty much maxed out, and yeah, I mean, it really is only good for me in quali, and you just sort of just tops out on the back straight before Canada Corner. But in the race, you need to get in the draft, and if you had the short gear in, you'd just rev out, and you just wouldn't get past anybody. So,
well,
yes, the standard gearing.
That's not true. I do love you.
Well, yeah,
no,
but Simon.
all I'm saying is
Simon's at a different league.
Yeah, Simon and Phil Glover were apparently running short gears because it was 3/10 quicker per lap in short gears. And we saw what Phil Glover did in race 2. He gained 11 places, Paul.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to him. It's a fantastic drive.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't make the shorter gears work, and I went for the standard gears, and happy with my choice.
Yeah, fair play to you, mate. Fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of surprising to me that it was Canada Corner, actually, as well. That was the main problem as well, actually. But anyway, shows how much I drive, really, more than anything else. It's just before you go, Paul, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I better give a shout out to Mr. Clark for getting P2 in race 1. He's really worked hard on this track, and he's been flying. So congrats to him.
You could have claimed it, and I wouldn't have known any different. But anyway, I'll learn one day, I promise. Paul, congratulations on a podium tonight, at least, and a successful evening generally. And hopefully, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Take care,
bye-bye.
mate.
Thanks very much, Paul LeMay there, not Paul Clark, chatting to us at the end of tonight's racing at Road America. Let's now finally bring in Phil Glover, because I know James has been waiting for this to chat to Phil Glover at the end of tonight. Phil, welcome in. Good to have you with us. You've been on our screens a lot in race 2 this evening, I've got to say. It was a great battle, and initially I was going to ask you about that when you first pop into the booth, as you always do, but got to ask you about the top 10 first of all. It came to you right at the very end. You were able to hang on for the last half lap also. How are you feeling after that second race?
Yeah, I was catching the 3 of them in front of me. Somebody went off, didn't they? And then Mike Bousson made a little error into the 90 left, I think, before I was at the carousel. So I managed to overtake him, but I thought, I bet he's going to take it back before I get over the line, but he didn't. So, fantastic night for me tonight. First race, although the results looked very disappointing, I had a good first race as well. Forgetting the results, because I drove well, apart from making stupid mistakes. I was getting in that red mist coming into a couple of bends, which is very silly. But I mean, I don't know how much you saw of me, but yeah,
all of
quite
it.
a few overtakes.
All of it. No, we did.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of it. Literally all of it. Yeah. I was like your number one cheerleader, Phil. We've put we met in real life. Now, if you just imagine me in a LA Lakers or a Phil Glover cheerleading outfit, that's what I was like. So when you watch it back, you'll understand.
Don't imagine that.
No, maybe don't. Probably not best. But yeah, no, I was cheering you on, Phil. Clapping, screaming. You had it all tonight, mate.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it takes a little while, doesn't it, for you to get used to the computer? So, as you know, I had one rebuilt, and Simon very kindly helped me set up all my pedals and things like that. But then I had it explode, and then so I've not had a lot of time to really get to grips with it. But I think, as I said last week, I'm kind of hoping that it'll make a difference, and it certainly has here tonight, I think. My biggest problem is getting the qualifying. I think both races I'm right pretty much at the back. I started the second race 21st, didn't I? So it just leaves me so much work to do, I think.
I mean, you mentioned there about qualifying. Is that down to the length of time that you've got, the fact that it's only 10 minutes for these qualifying laps, or is it the fact that there is actually not very many laps you get around Road America, and will it be better at a circuit like, I don't know, Road Atlanta, Brands Hatch we've got coming up in the next few weeks, where you'll get more laps in the session?
Do you know, I don't think it makes any difference to me. It's to do with must be an internal pressure. I suddenly think, I probably always approach it thinking, never do very well at qualifying. So, and it probably then stems all from there. Yeah, it's just down to me. There's no reason why I shouldn't be any good at qualifying, but I just don't seem to be able to string 2 laps. Well, I only just string 1 lap together, don't I, really? But anyhow.
It makes races more entertaining, I suppose. I mean, before, obviously, the big crash, which thankfully you weren't actually involved in, there was, 6 to 8 drivers absolutely going at it. You were one of them. What was that battle like to be a part of throughout that race? Because it was chaos for most of the race.
Yeah, and I was getting really close to some people as well. Because coming out of some corners, I was doing fairly well, but then I was catching up and, sort of almost mid-corner, so it gets a bit tricky, doesn't it? And it's so easy to ruin somebody's day. So you kind of don't know, but I guess with my brakes being set up much better now, I'm able to modulate it without locking up. As soon as you lock up, you're going to go into the back of somebody. So being able to modulate the brakes, I'm sure, is making a bit of a difference.
Well, it was a great evening, Phil. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
And my wife for giving me 3 or 4 pints before I drove. I'm sure that helped.
We should do it more often. Yes, congratulations on the top 10 tonight, Phil, in the second race, especially, and yeah, thanks for joining us.
Next week?
It is. I'll tell you in a second. Spa, it is. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see how it works out.
Get the setup of Simon Edwards, mate. You'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks very much, Phil. And yeah, we'll see you at Spa. There we are, Phil Glover chatting to us after top 10 tonight at Road America. And one last interview that we do have as well is, oh dear, I'm dragging everyone around here. Paul Godden is the one I want to have a chat to round things off. But welcome in, Paul. Good to have you with us. I mean, we've already chatted to Phil Glover about this, but I'll ask you about it as well. What was that battle like to be a part of in race 2? Because it was complete chaos for us to watch. It was very entertaining, but in the end, unfortunately, it ended in an incident for almost everybody, including yourself. Just what was that like to be a part of in that race?
Oh yeah, evening guys. Evening. Yeah, no, I'm still smiling from it, to be honest. It was just incredible to be part of, and the racing in that mid pack was just, you didn't know who was going where, and you're thinking it's going to end in tears at some point. But the racing was just wheel to wheel and swapping places every time, and unfortunately, I went for short gear ratio, so I had really good speed up to him, and then on the straights, I just could not get past him. So I just had to hang it out side by side and hope they would run a little bit wide or something. But no one was making really any mistakes. It was just incredible to be part of that mid pack battle.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great to watch as well. I mean, historically, Road America for you, has it been one of those circuits that you look forward to because you see battles like this? Because sometimes I've got to say, as a spectator, I don't always look forward to this circuit because I don't think it provides this kind of racing all the time. But tonight, it was fantastic all over the track, really.
Yeah, no, this Road America, I enjoy driving it, but I don't enjoy racing it. I get a little bit nervous. There's a lot of corners where a lot of people could be at different speeds and a couple of different lines and stuff. And you've got a lot of slow corners, fast corners, a bit of everything. So it's quite a tricky one to actually race at. And normally the racing's good for 2 or 3 laps around here, and then it's pretty boring. But tonight it just wasn't boring the whole time. And I was chatting to obviously Kian, who was behind us, and you guy. We're trying to get up to speed, and he was still having little battles behind us as well with a couple of people. So, and you could see in front of us we're having battles. So it just looked like the whole field was in like maybe split into 2, maybe. But overall, they were just having a great battle throughout the field. But it was. It was a really enjoyable evening. It's just a shame it ended how it did, and it's the first time I've been disqualified from an event in about 5 years, I think. So it was just unfortunate that I was getting a couple of X's where we were battling quite hard with like a little bit of contact. I had someone behind me, I think it was Robert, was trying to bump draft me down the straight, and I got a 4X from it, which was a bit annoying. But it's one of them things, and when you're racing that close, then things do happen. And for it to end in an incident which could have been avoided, which obviously the driver involved has apologised, but it took 4 of us out, and also 2 of us were disqualified, and I think 2 were damaged. So it was a disappointing end. But overall, I think because we all enjoyed the racing so much, you kind of forget about that and move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I was going to say, you weren't the only person to get disqualified, which is very unusual. Very unusual to see 1 actually disqualification.
Yeah, but, at the same time as well.
Highly unusual at the same time. But anyway, these things happen from time to time. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out?
Now and just watching it one way, then the other way, and I didn't know where he was going.
No, that was a difficult one.
I was slowing down. I slowed down for it, but he just couldn't go and gauge where he was going. I couldn't see anything. I was like,
yeah, I mean, it would have been difficult for you with the damage anyway. I saw briefly the steering input that you had to put to go straight there very briefly before you got disqualified. I mean, you're nearly 90 degrees to the right there, just trying to go in a straight line. So
yeah, I don't think I would have gone much further.
No, exactly. Unfortunately, I don't think it would have been much more ideal in the end. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to, Paul, before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to a new guy, Kian. He's last night we were doing some practice with him because it's his first ever broadcast league, and he's only been on iRacing about I think 4 or 5 months, not that long at all. And he was like 4 seconds off the pace last night. And tonight he was on the back of the pack, and he finished 14th in that second race, which is disappointed about. But I said to him, 14th in a calibre of those drivers, and they've all been racing his car for many seasons. He's done very, very well. So he needs to, I'll go back through the race with him and the couple of incidents he had. But overall, he's done amazingly tonight, and it's good to see him progressing each week and getting that a little bit quicker.
Exactly. Can get better from here, I'm sure, as well. Paul, congratulations on being involved in that battle, because you were a great part of it, and it was fantastic to watch. Exactly, yeah. Well worth the watch back.
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting to us, and hopefully we'll see you at Spa next week.
Yeah, cheers for your broadcast. Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Thanks very much. Paul Godden chatting to us there at the end of the second race at Road America here tonight in the Radical Race Series. And now we're a third of the way through the season. It feels like that always creeps up on us in the Radical Race Series. Since we're here every week, we see the great racing, and we get surprised. Well, I get surprised every time that we're getting through the season quite so quickly. But we are, and we're already at the end of round 4, and it's probably been the best one to date so far. The battles we saw within that were just fantastic. Shame to see the end the way that did. Shame that we didn't get the battles for the win today that we expected. I mean, I don't think there was a single battle for the lead really since, well, James Barry took the lead over at some point, didn't he? But it wasn't exactly a huge fight, and there certainly wasn't any fight in race 1 either. That's the only thing you can take away from that race, because other than that, it had pretty much everything else.
Yeah, it did. And to be honest, I don't think when people watch it back, like the drivers watch it back, that they're going to be too upset about it. Look at the racing that was going on. It was just incredible. 3 packs of drivers that could have been in 5 in a pack, 6 in a pack, or that battle between 12th and 18th. There was just so much going on. And it was so nice to see the likes of Jamie Bird have a good race, Ben Underdown, James Child, Phil Glover, of course. It was great seeing them guys progress through the field. Regardless of what went on, it was still awesome racing. And James Barry as well, great win, stunning job from him as well. And if I'm not mistaken, which I don't think I am, that's his first race win of the season.
It certainly is his first feature race win of the season. Whether it's his first sprint race win, don't quite know. He's gone quite close a few times, but certainly his first feature race win of the season. And by the way, we're not disappointed about the lack of battle for the race win throughout these races. We had absolutely everything else, so many things going on up and down the field all day long. That's what it's like though in the Radical Race series. Make sure you join us again next week at Spa, where I'm sure we're in for more of the same. Subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel. We did it 1.5k, by the way.
Yes.
In terms of subscribers, so make sure you help us along there to that milestone, and take a look at all the other racing that goes on throughout the week, because there's a lot of it, especially on a Thursday night. If you're sitting around waiting for us on a Thursday night, then you might as well watch one of the broadcasts before this one, because it's there's a lot going on a Thursday evening. So make sure you check it out, and of course the other evenings as well. Thanks very much for being tuned in here on this occasion. Though it's been round 4 of the Radical Race series for Season 4 of 2023. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Jed Parfitt, and until we see you next time at Spa, it's goodbye for now.